Who does not make it onto this playoff bullpen roster? Eric, I'm going to start with you. Of the current guys, who is not going to be a part of the picture come playoff time?
This pains me to say, but it's Phil Bickford for sure. And I love Bickford. Bickford's my guy. I love my giant dinosaur. I love that, born in Ventura, allegedly, according to Baseball Reference. Sure. But look, he's been in AAA. He did not look good last night. I mean, granted, one of those is probably an out if they're not in the shift, which gets us back to Dave Roberts, but that's a whole other situation. But it's probably Phil Bickford who's not on this postseason roster as a reliever.
Before the season, I said this was Phil Bickford's regression season. And I hate that I'm right about that, but everything about his peripherals and about what he throws and his pitch mix tells you it's probably was a one-year type of deal in a good situation that he was put into.
I think we talked like spring training, try to trade this guy as soon as you can. He's been fine.
It's very Victor Gonzalez 2021-ish.
Yeah, there you go.
Was that real? It's like, I don't know if that was
kind of
real.
a mirage, right? And that's kind of how bullpen pieces are. They're volatile from year to year, and that's why you don't see Andrew Friedman giving up high prospects for relievers because they're usually on a lot of team control. So, I think that's the reason why, too. Phil Bickford, I hope he's not the odd man out.
Do you have a guy that you think is going to be the odd man out come playoff time?
I mean, can we talk about David Price? Is he included? Because David Price, I will pick you up right now.
Make it out of the month.
I think that David Price can still be elite pitching in the KBO. Not in Major League Baseball. I think David Price, at this point of his career, he's a guy that just struggles. He doesn't have it anymore. I said a few weeks ago he's the Luol Deng of this Dodgers team. Now he's looking like the Karl Malone. He's looking like the Shaquille O'Neal with the Celtics, right? He just doesn't have it at this point in his career. It's no fault to him because he's very professional. I've seen him in the clubhouse, all smiles. The guys love him, but he just doesn't have a role. It's like putting a square peg into a round hole in this team. He just doesn't have a role, and unfortunately, I think that, look, what we say is what must be done eventually should be done immediately, and you should either find a trade partner for him, take on some of that salary, eat some of that salary, get a low-level prospect, or you got to DFA David Price. And look, at this point, that's just how it is. And look, they should play the Price is Right, drop the dun 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 every time he enters the game. Because like I know he hasn't been that bad, but he just doesn't have a role on this team. And I just think that he won't be on this postseason roster.
The role part too. Think back to just before he was activated from the long stint on the COVID IL. He was like, I don't even know what I'm doing here. Essentially, like, do you want to pitch well? Like, are you going to feel confident if you're coming into work and they're like, we don't kind of need you today?
Yeah, exactly.
You're good to go.
You can stay home.
And he was the Mookie tax. He served his purpose. He was the Mookie tax.
He's Carl Crawford.
He
is the second iteration of Carl Crawford.
Love David Price. Great human, great dude. No spot on this team.
He's not going to like to hear that. But
I don't think he makes it past the All-Star game.
I don't think he makes it through the trade deadline.
I think when Kershaw comes back, possibly.
There's something to that there because I think they will go with the six-man rotation for a little bit. So there might be something there. Speaking of guys who are struggling big time and down bad, Cody Bellinger had a decent enough May to have Dodgers fans have some hope, feel alive, feel like things were headed in the right direction. But has since you can't even really come back. You can't even call it come back to earth because he wasn't good. He was just, compared to his last season, significantly better than what he was doing. But 520 OPS this month. I'm not calling him useless at the plate because that just seems mean. But right now, are we getting last year's Cody? And is just that who he is, Eric? Is that who we're just going to have for the rest of forever for Cody Bellinger?
I think Cody Bellinger is going to be Jason Hayward for the rest of his career, honestly. I think he's a premium glove. I think he's a premium athlete. I think he's a great guy. I think he says a lot of the right things. I think he's very professional, but he's just not good at the plate. And especially in this day and age when you have all these great relievers coming in, you have everyone knows your book so well, especially with Cody Bellinger. You talk about a high variance player, Bellinger is the example of. Like his ceiling is MVP Babe Ruth, and his floor is the second worst offensive player in the league by WRC plus. So look, I like Bellinger, but I just think I think he's going to be a lifetime 220, 230 hitter, maybe 250 with some pop and some great wheels, and that's just who he is.
As the
good luck, Scott Boras,
resident Cody Bellinger hater in the building, is there any reason that you should feel good about anything that he's doing right now, or hopeful?
I wouldn't say hater.
You're sipping on that Cody Bellinger haterade for sure.
Listen. I knew in 18 he was going to be this up and down dude all of his career. You've seen these type of dudes.
Win an MVP the next year.
Yeah.
Out of spite.
On the power of a month and a half of great, way above anybody's league baseball. And then he came back down to earth and hit, 280, 275 for the rest of the season. Terrible. We would kill to have that guy for sure. This is just who Cody is, man. This is who he is. He's he's part of a group of Dodgers that are not performing up to their standard, up to their means. We're seeing it with JT. We're seeing it with, Will Smith at the moment. But also at the same time, this might be, like you're saying, like you guys are saying, this might be who Cody Bellinger is. He's providing value in that he's showing up to work. He's playing good to great to mediocre to plus defense in center field. He hasn't been a major problem. He has not been a major black hole for this lineup right now. He's providing what the team needs, especially when you got people like Mookie Betts, Freddie Freeman, Trey Turner at the top to carry everything. But one of him and JT or Will Smith, people need to get it going a little bit. And I'm looking at Cody. Cody's got to do something big real soon.
It's kind of wild to think that there's 4 or 5 guys not playing nearly up to their potential just in the starting lineup alone, and you still have the record that we have right now and are pretty much on track to win the West.
Thank you, Mookie.
Considered,
Thank you,
obviously.
Mookie. Thank you, Freddie.
Thank you, Freddie. God, even
Thank
he's
you,
on a
Trey.
slide, and it still feels like we're still doing much better. And Trey, too. I mean,
Yeah.
that's another guy you got to consider. Finally, guys.